Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Classic Film Lovers Guide. I am Alex. I've been watching the channel for quite some time. I'm sure you've been wondering through all the videos, I wonder what this guy actually looks like. This is what you get, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but thank you guys so much for joining us here today. I am super excited to be talking about this specific actor named Chadwick Boseman. He's been one of the greatest inspirations, especially as I've continued my journey as an actor. But you know what I'm really more excited about? I'm more excited that it's not just going to be me, but I have one of my dear friends and colleagues joining me here today. He's also one of the greatest actors you will ever meet, and just amazed of where his journey is going to go to within the future. I know you're going to be seeing so much of him through the test of time. He's one of the best actors of this generation. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you guys my dear friend. Welcome, Stephon Pettway.
Thank you. Beautiful. Good to see you, Alex. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, brother. I'm so excited for you to be here, man.
Me too. Me too. This is actually one of my favorite. Again, it's one of my favorite subjects to talk about. I love talking about acting, performances. I love talking about artists. I love talking about the humanity, and because I think it all just relates and connects us all together. So yeah, you just combine my favorite things to talk about in the world, and it's always easy when we talk to good people.
Yeah, well, especially it blesses my heart to have amazing actors like you with me. And I'm honestly 100% humbled that you were able to carve out this time, hailing all the way from the East Coast with us tonight, which is why we're having this over Zoom right now.
Yes. I mean, I would love to be in person with you. Yeah, unfortunately, COVID it's been rough on everybody. So
Yeah.
I just say to everybody, please take care of yourselves. Please mask up. Whatever your views and beliefs are, just always remember that we all are together. This is your land. This is my land, from California to New York Islands.
Absolutely. Amen.
So just be safe. We just need to be safe out here and protect each other because again, we're together in this, even when we don't think we are.
Exactly. Yeah. Just every bit of our parts to make sure that we're all taken care of and everything is all safe, so that we can all move forward.
One of my favorite songs off of Donald Glover's first album, Camp.
Nice.
I think one of the chorus went, "There's a world we can visit if we go outside, outside. We can follow the road." It's such a great song because it shows you like, oh man, there's such a lot of us are kind of afraid, and a lot of us kind of fear our own potentials and shadows and whatnot. But like, oh man, there's a big world outside if you just take a chance. But you
Yeah.
got to be safe when you take a chance. So mask up, people.
Exactly. Then to quote ABBA, take a chance, take a chance, take a chance.
Oh, I
It was
thought you was
that.
gonna go dance. I thought you was gonna go dancing queen on me. I was like, you can. I saw in the dancing queen.
We do that all day.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
the
dude.
and that's the video. Just us dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited for us to tag team this. I'm talking about, I know one of my favorite actors, and I know one of your favorite actors as well. Chadwick Boseman,
Definitely.
man. I mean,
Most definitely.
just reading up on him again and just finding out his whole history is just mind-blowing.
Oh
It's
yeah, he's a Southern boy like me. He's from South Carolina.
right.
He comes from family and tradition and culture. I came from North Carolina, so I was more of a Duke, Blue Devils, and Tar Heels person. So we had tradition, but we also had like Dairy Queens and all these other things out here. So I got exposed to a lot of things. Chadwick was a country Southern boy,
Oh yeah.
but in a great way though. I think his family really they raised a good man. I know I don't personally know the man like that, but I can definitely tell he seemed like he came from always a good place and a true artist. Like, and they say game recognizes game, and I think like I always felt like I always felt like I was an artist. I think I can't deny every now and then I wanted to be a movie star here and there.
Yeah.
But, I think what I noticed with that guy is like every project you ever saw him in, any interview that he would ever do, he wasn't always the most comfortable, but he was truly himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And
He
he
always felt
enjoyed talk. Yeah, he always felt genuine.
yeah.
He really had me feel
Hmm.
whenever I would watch him work or even in an interview.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and that I think that's just the number one definition for him too of being such a contributor because he went to Howard University for directing.
Yes, he
And
did.
yeah, and it's incredible. And
HU, you know.
yeah, oh yeah, and he started with writing, and he wrote a lot of plays growing up. And one of the biggest ones was apparently that got a lot of notice was hieroglyphic graffiti, and then another one that really produced from that was Crossroads. And then apparently he directed the colored production of the Colored Museum, which obviously was
Uh-huh.
written by George C. Wolfe. And it's amazing how that will come full circle as we talk about our top 10 later on, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he I had a couple I went to a predominantly African American high school, Hillside High School, and
Mhm.
we have one of the top high school theaters in the country run by Mr. Wendell Tabb, very mentor, friend, almost like father figure to me and a number of other great actors. And actually a number of my classmates and a number of fellow people that were under me, they ended up going to Howard University and studying with the same tutelage. And what I've been told about Howard University, like many great HBCU schools, they just instill a level of wisdom, culture, confidence, and love
Yeah.
and understanding. So it's never just about the job. It's never just about the history. It's about the question, where did it start? How does it go? Where are we going to move with it? I was told that with Chadwick when he was in college, he was no different than anybody else. They said he was a bit of a weird guy, but then again, he's an artist, so aren't most of
A
us like
little
kind
bit.
of weird? Like
Yeah.
you and I went to college. You and I went to college together. You were undergrad and I was grad, but most
Yeah.
of the time people would see me like standing outside, like saying lines to myself in a big circle, like I
Yes.
didn't care.
I've
But it's
been
like
I've been many times.
exactly. So it's like they said Chadwick was one of those guys. He would kind of be like outside the theater building with cornrows and he'd be playing the guitar, but he was really big on like Shakespeare,
Yeah.
hip hop and poetry and how you can kind of like blend and create these worlds to really express this new entity. So I feel like he was definitely an artist, but more importantly, he was definitely an innovator. And you can kind of see it as he was progressing in his career from the clothes he was wearing to his understanding of the stories in which he was trying to tell and how he knew the impact it was going to have.
Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and get started here as far
Oh,
as
definitely.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, here are our top 10 favorite and from what we believe are the best performances given by the amazing Chadwick Boseman. So, my dear friend, you go first. What is your number 10?
All right, number 10. I was really conflicted with this one, but I'm going to go with Draft Day. I say draft, yes, Draft
Actually,
Day.
actually,
So,
buddy,
yeah,
hey, high five on that. We have the same 10.
yep,
Boom.
yes, 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 yes.
Same thing for
Now,
me. Yeah.
yeah, there was some. All right, so all right, Draft Day. It's a very underrated film.
I agree.
It's and for any of us who are sports fanatics, I really just started getting into football a couple years ago, and I'm in fantasy leagues and whatnot. But Chadwick, it was a sleeper performance from him. Like it's one of those performances you can easily forget, but when you watch it, it's like I can see that. I can see him being a football player with dignity
Mm-hmm.
and love
Yeah.
and wanting to represent his community as well as like bring home the championship and the gold and whatnot. So there
Mm-hmm.
was something about that performance that I was like, this dude's coming for something. And it's also interesting too because there was a movie called The Express and Rob Brown was in that film and Chadwick was in like the last 10 minutes of the movie. He
Floyd
was a
Little.
character. Yeah, he was a character that they were coming to recruit.
Yeah.
And Chadwick, you could see if Chad was he was a young
Feisty. Like,
whippersnapper. Yeah, yeah. It was like it's like I'm gonna do some great things. I want to be like you, Mr. Hudson. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to do
exactly.
this and do this. And
Yep.
of course, that man in real life, he did go on and do those things and accomplish just as much.
Yep.
But this character in Draft Day, I I guess you could say he kind of mirrors that guy of what he would become, which then would mirror what Chadwick Boseman was going to become. You know, I got this
Exactly.
ambition and I'm gonna do this and I got to play the game and I got to kind of grow, but people don't really know who I am yet, but they're going to. And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually gets drafted to the league and he gets higher, and then before you know it, just
It just
woo, yeah, it just explodes from there.
exactly. Well, and it blew my mind too because I really enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And I think
Yeah,
what was really great is that, well, one, it's directed by Ivan Reitman, Ghostbusters, Kindergarten
that's it.
Cop, and Twins, and co-written by Rajiv Joseph, a Pulitzer Prize finalist for Bengal Tiger at the Baghdad Zoo. And when I saw his name pop up, I was like, really? Because I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
Yeah, because
I
I
didn't know
love
that.
Rajiv Joseph as a writer. He's phenomenal. And so I could see all of the intricacies within the writing. I was just like, oh, wow. So this is why. Because as you see, the writing really cooks as well. And I
It
love,
does.
and that's the thing about Boseman too, because he said that he didn't really want to do another athletic
Sports.
film, because, yeah, sports movie, because he just did 42. I'll be this great college player at 37 years old. He was 37 years old. He was really the heart of it, to where
Yes.
you see this player wanting to be able to, yeah, make the right decision, provide the best life, and it's same. He just blew me away. It was great. But now I have to ask you, what's your number 9?
Oh, you gonna go there? Okay.
Yeah.
Number 9. This should have been higher, but I don't know why. I'm gonna do Defy Bloods.
Really? Really?
I know. Here, all right. So hear me on this one. I know that's what I'm saying. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Defy Bloods in that performance. The reason why I think I go 9 with it, it's because it wasn't a long enough performance.
Yeah.
It was definitely a supporting role, which I respect. It's like everything that Chadwick Boseman had worked up to at that point in his career, all the training, all the knowledge, all of this culture and this heritage, it was living in Storm and Norman.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It was just how he sat in the frame, how poised he was, and how the strength of him, the leadership and the guidance, and then that I always, if anybody hasn't, I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you haven't seen Defy Bloods, it is currently on Netflix, directed by Spike Lee, Delroy Lindo,
One of the
Jonathan
best.
Majors. Yeah, just a great cast of actors, theater actors, especially who
Yeah.
transition in film and TV and still just can body anything. That performance, that it could go higher, it just wasn't long enough.
Wasn't enough, right?
Yeah, it wasn't enough, but it was like every time he was on camera,
You're hooked.
stoic. You're hooked. You're like in. And he was able to find the love. Like I always love that quote, and I actually use it now more than ever. I was like, God is love, love is God. And I've heard people say it, but now I say it more and more now, just because it's such a cool quote, man.
It
Just
is.
and just hugging and embracing a man. Just you got me, man. You got me good. Like
Right.
I ain't mad at you. Yeah, I ain't mad at you.
But that's fascinating. That's your number 9. See, my number 9, this might surprise you,
Go for it.
but my number 9 is actually 21 Bridges.
Oh,
Yeah.
because
See,
21 Bridges was further up for me.
yeah, I know. See, I, I wanted to enjoy this movie so much. I really wanted to. And it's the only savior of it, honestly, is Chadwick Boseman, because he leads it with such grace, such confidence. Like, he owns the movie. The writing for me, it just did not connect as well. It wanted to go in a different direction, but it just felt, I don't know, it just felt very flat to me, just writing wise.
Oh,
But acting wise, Boseman was completely on top of his game. Apparently, Sienna Miller, his co-star, was not receiving as much pay to her, to this, what her demands were. So Chadwick Boseman took upon himself to donate his salary to Sienna Miller. Blew my mind.
true leadership. Like,
True.
and he was a producer. Like, it's not the first movie that I feel like 21 Bridges was his first movie that he was ever like in the producer chair. A lot of other films he had been an executive producer.
Mm-hmm.
So, the executive producer titles can be very loose and things like that. But in the producer's chair, Chadwick was very much in charge of that script. Like he he said, like, I was very much in charge of like looking at the script, working on this and working on this. I even, I was a part of the casting process too, and
Yeah.
bringing certain people in from
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons to even Stephon
Stephon
James.
James, great.
Like
Yeah.
he was very Chadwick was very instrumental in bringing that in. And also, I think what he showed you too is you don't see with movies like that. Of course, they're going to be flat, but you're never used to seeing a black protagonist at the center of it.
Right, exactly.
Which is, I think, what he was trying to, again, representation was key to Mr. Boseman. He really wanted to show that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What you get from watching the film, you always see when the camera's on Chadwick, it's always at a close-up or it's always at a medium shot, but it's on him and he's grounded in it. And you can see his character thinking and observing and reporting. You could see the story working all over. You don't often get that when you watch actors of today's generation on camera because we don't know how to really play on camera.
Right.
So sometimes the camera has a way of cutting to something else or has to cut here, has cut here. But if the camera can actually sit on the artist or sit on the character and allow the story to live on that character's face and live on that character's body so that it's projected to the audience on the opposite side, you can feel it. That final scene between him and J.K. Simmons, just who's that on the phone? And he's just like leaning in, but at the same time he's studying. It's like, I put it together. I know what you're doing. I'm gonna stop you. And if you get in my way, I'm gonna seek justice.
Yeah.
And I know you can try to justify it, but you can't. Yeah, and he just
He was so good.
yes.
He was
so good. Yeah.
So
I know,
good.
like you said, 21 Bridges was a flat script. It really was. But I know that the actors that he had in it, they made the best of what they can do. And you're right, Chadwick, this was like his kind of brush with a genre and his brush with leading. Because, you know, I think at that point, everybody wanted to just continue to see him as T'Challa from Black Panther.
What's your number 8? You first. Love to hear your
My number 8, Captain America Civil War.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Now, again, the reason why these are great performances, but they're lower, is because, again, I didn't get enough time.
Exactly.
It's
I have a confession to make as well, my friend.
What's that?
It's at my number 8 as well. Another high five. Boom. So, and that's the craziest thing. The writers, they were more focused about fleshing out Spider-Man, right? So that was their main, that was their main goal, to flesh out Spider-Man within the script. But they were unsure if they were able to have the full rights to be able to the Spider-Man because of, the whole Sony and Marvel thing, going on. That's always been in, rights battle for years, right? And then, and so they decided, like, okay, let's flesh out Black Panther instead. We thought we could wait on this for his own movie, but it's just like, well, a lot of the other characters, they were already like starting to get little more exposure, moments, leading up to their own movie, right? But then once they got the rights for Spider-Man, they were just like, well, shoot, we already did so much of fleshing out Black Panther here, and they were like, let's keep it. And I'm so damn glad that they did that. However, I wish it was more. I wish they would have done more, but I get it. Captain America's Civil War, right? Which, side note, the movie kind of felt more like an Iron Man movie to me. Anyway.
That's where it's funny that you say that. I'm going to disagree with you, but I'm only disagreeing with you because I did have a conversation I have friends who are huge Marvel, DC comic book fans, nerds to the core. Yeah. I would say I'm more of the cinematic side of it.
Yeah.
But I poke my head around the comics every now and then. With Captain America Civil War, Iron Man definitely was more a part of it than they expected. And I know that Robert Downey Jr., they kind of expected him to kind of come in and do like maybe a day or two of work. Right. But I think Downey was like, no, I feel like this should be more. I got to be more in this just because. But I still felt like it was Steve Rogers' story. I still felt like there was conflict, opposing thoughts. It's just like in the comics and everything else like that. I felt like it really was still Captain America's story at the end. Like, trust me, an Iron Man story.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Like, Robert Downey Jr. also has that personality. Like, he could take it over. You know the feeling. I actually feel like they were dialing him back a lot in this because you could see it in the acting too. It's just that feeling of, I'm repressed. I am upset. I'm flustered. I'm trying to do right now. I'm watching my tongue because trust me, you don't really want to know what I have to say. And I think he just took all that out a little bit at the end of the fight in their final battle scene.
You don't really
Study his
want to know what
patterns.
I'm doing.
Yeah, you
You
don't really want to know.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like literally, let's kick his ass. That's what the movie took over. That's when Iron Man took over in that
Exactly. Yeah.
moment. This is what I have to respect about the Russos. The Russo brothers, they also, they were responsible for Community.
Yeah.
A lot of those big episodes of like the paintball wars and the big action sequences in Community. The Russo brothers are very much responsible for all those great Community episodes that we love. So if anybody hasn't seen Community, it's on Hulu. I believe it might be on Netflix. It's a great show.
I think so. Yeah.
Dan Harmon, all those guys. What I think the Russo brothers did so well with Black Panther in the beginning of Civil War, it's how they framed him. It's because Chadwick, again, he has this stoicness about him and this strength and this presence. The camera kind of cuts to him, and you see this figure standing on the ledge, overlooking, and then eventually it's like he notices somebody's watching him, so he turns that head and goes profile on you, which is almost like the superhero introduction.
Right.
But there's this thing of just he comes into frame, and he's very much just, I'm respectful, I am observant, I see the world around me, but I am who I am and I know who I am. That was what I loved about what Chadwick brought to T'Challa in the beginning. You could see it. This is a character that is rooted in his culture. He knows who he is, he knows what he represents, he sees the politics and the policies behind everything. But what he also recognizes is, man, two people can get more done in a room than a collection of 12 or 20. But if this is what they choose to do, I'm here to represent my father. And then that disturbance of I've lost something that I've loved more than anything. And now I'm about revenge. It's not about Captain America's side of the Accords. It's not about Tony Stark's side of the Accords. It's this man took my father, prepare to die. One scene that, you got to appreciate in the film too, is when he's sitting in the car with Steve and Sam, and he makes that threat. You can't tell it's a threat. You can tell, but it's like, it's how he does it that it's just like, what will he do?
Yeah.
The Black Panther, he was a sworn protector of Wakanda for generations. And now, thanks to your friend, I am now going to be the king and I'm a warrior. So I ask you both, as warrior and as king, how long do you think you can keep your friends safe from me? Because you can't. It's that feeling, dude.
Yeah.
Black Panther went on a journey,
a
character arc. He started in this place of just nobleness, and then he wanted revenge, and then he went to an understanding and a catharticness of it when he got the truth, and then he went to forgiveness. And of course, one of my favorite quotes, and I've had a lot of friends and people tell me with a lot of the tragedy and things that's been happening in their lives, is just, I'm so tired. I want to be done. I don't want to be in this world anymore. I often just tell them, the living are not done with you yet. You can't go. And I think that's such a powerful moment. He didn't get as much screen time as everybody else, but it wasn't his movie to get.
But it's true. But yet he was so impactful already. Like you remembered him so well. He made such an impact already just with the little screen time which he had, which is a huge testament to the actor himself. If he can be able to make you remember, it's like, and it's not just the fact that like, oh, it's the first time we saw Black Panther. It's beyond that. It's beside the fact that this was such a performance by a man who inhabited royalty, who absolutely, when you saw him just come within the frame, I still remember that whole scene when his father is, sorry, spoiler alert. It's been
spoiler alert, everybody. It's been a long time. You can watch it. It's on Disney Plus. Watch it.
Watch it immediately. But if all the spoilers can come out for Spider-Man No Way Home, it's okay. But already,
I'm not saying nothing about that one. I'm not gonna get sniped like Tom Holland, or I'm I'm not a Mark Ruffalo. I'm keeping my mouth shut with anything.
Exactly. But that scene where his father is killed and he's right there with him. And like I remember when I first saw that scene, I felt it and I saw the switch in him of what he wanted to do and what he had
Oh
to
yeah.
do.
I'm in complete shock and devastation of what happened and the memory that my father would tell me and in my culture and then change.
Yep.
Stoicness. I'm not my dad. I'm gonna have to kill somebody now.
Mm-hmm.
Bye. You know?
Exactly.
I mean what I say.
So I'm curious, what's your number 7 now?
Well, 7, you kind of already had it earlier.
Oh,
7 was 21 Bridges for me.
okay.
You know,
Awesome.
because again, we got the bigger screen time on this one.
Right. Right.
You know, I'm not going to go into any more detail because we already know. I've
Went
already
into that.
spoke my piece about that. Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So my number 7 is actually Message from the King. Now,
Ooh, I forgot about that. It was on my list, but I was like, yep. To talk
it's all
about it.
good. It's all good.
Talk about it.
Yeah, Message from the King, man. Oh my goodness. Same thing. I mean, same thing about that film. Chadwick Boseman made that movie. He made that movie so exciting. It's such an independent film. Like it should have been one of those films that you would see at like Sundance. His star power just like exploded right off the screen within the film. I love how this film is really kind of a precursor as far as character wise to Black Panther.
I think somebody did say that like he took on that role not just because of the script. I think he took it on because he felt like it would be a good practice for him as he was preparing for Black Panther. He was playing an African man. He was in the United States of America. He was seeking some justice and clarity and understanding for the death of his sister. The funny thing is, I didn't see that film until a year or two after Black Panther.
Wow.
I remember when it came out on Netflix, but it just was like not in my radar. Because Netflix has just there's so much content that comes out on Netflix now. It's almost like it's a gamble. It's a roll of the dice. Most of the time, I'll watch a film based off of a friend's recommendation, or I will watch a film based off of an actor that I might admire and see. But sometimes even that can be, a downhill thing. It's
Right.
preference.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, same. I didn't even know about that film until actually same thing until it was mentioned. I was just like, oh, this other film, which again I was just like, oh, okay.
Again, it does precursor Black Panther, but what you are seeing in that film is you're seeing somebody with strength, with dignity. You're seeing somebody on camera. You're seeing somebody trying to solve a case. You're seeing somebody that will exact the revenge and carry out his mission to the core, no matter what. And you also see this person trying to understand how the situation came to what it became.
Exactly.
It's not just I'm going to kill these people to kill them. What happened to my sister that she got into this situation that she ended up dead? And where was I as a brother to take care of her? And then, you of course you get a backstory of who he is and where he comes from, their family, and how she ended up in America and her life and his life there and whatnot. So it's a great arc. I think people weren't buying into it as much because it's like, oh, this is just like Black Panther before Black Panther. People try to sweep it under the rug.
Especially when you have a line like, whoever you are, tell them this is a message from the king. And then I was just like, oh, that's good. That is so good.
All right, I'm going to say this. The biggest issue with Chadwick, and it's like the issue with anybody in Hollywood who works, it's all about the material. Every artist comes as a package. Like most of us who went to drama school and training school, study with acting coaches and teachers and whatever, we have skills and qualities that our teachers are trying to unlock in us. And even some things that we want to play ourselves that we've never had the privilege of playing. The problem is it's all in how somebody writes it too. I think Chadwick had so many skills and talents and again was a natural artist. But again, I always felt like, again, those scripts that he had were very flat or they had a little bit of nuance, but not enough.
Right.
He was a star and had an interesting character, but the movie itself wasn't interesting enough to make him bigger
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
and feel bigger and larger and have an impact, which, like we said, we'll deal with later with our top five or top three.
What's your number 6, my friend?
Number 6, I'm going to go 42.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. I see where you go with this one. The reason why 42 is my number 6, it is because it was Chadwick's first major lead in a picture.
Yep.
But what you see in that film, again, the script I think was still it was iffy.
It was a glorified TV movie of the week. I mean, I'll just.
Yes. Jackie Robinson, that on 42, it was the beginning of Chadwick Boseman's first lead. But what you see when you watch the film is Chadwick coming into himself and his confidence as a storyteller, the same way Jackie was doing coming from the Negro League into the majors. Right. Both men had talent and skill, but both were faced with doubt during a time when the world needed something or someone new to hope for and to root for. Again, I think 42 just goes to 6 because of the script.
Yeah.
Chadwick's dignity, Chadwick's poise, Chadwick's work ethic. I remember seeing like behind the scenes footage of him when he was working out to prepare for Jackie Robinson, what he was putting himself through, the studying constantly of how Jackie would swing and how Jackie would steal the base. They wanted a body double or they wanted a stuntman to kind of do, that type of work of like, and Chadwick was like, no.
Nope, that's wrong.
I have to do, I have to do this. It's like, in order for people to believe that I'm Jackie Robinson, I have to be able to look like I could steal the bases and move like him, And Chadwick Boseman he was a true athlete as well. He was he boxed. He was a really good basketball player too. I mean, his brother was into the arts, and I think he got into acting and wrote a play to honor a friend of his who had passed away. And so it awoke something in him. So this was a perfect role for Chadwick because in real life, Chadwick Boseman actually was a good athlete.
Right.
I don't think he played baseball like that, but I think he knew the principles of that sport. And I think, as kids growing up, didn't we all kind of play t-ball, baseball, softball a little bit as a way to get out of our parents' hair?
Exactly. So my number 6, I mean, might surprise you as well, but my number 6 is actually Marshall. And I'll be honest on this, and I mean this in a very positive way. I was very surprised by how good the movie was. Part of that is because, and that's another subject altogether, trailers, they never really give, justice to a film.
Sometimes they give too much of the film, but never the justice of the film. Yes.
Exactly. So when I saw the trailer, I was just like, are they going to do that with the story of Thurgood Marshall? Are they really going to do that? But then obviously I wanted to take the plunge and I wanted to watch it anyway because it's Chadwick Boseman and it's Thurgood Marshall. So I watched it and I was just like, I am hooked. Like I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. At every single scene, it was just like, it was captivating. It was wonderful. The chemistry between Chadwick Boseman and Josh Gad, which that was another thing that threw me off as well. I love Josh Gad, but then in this environment, that was another thing. I was just like, But their chemistry worked amazingly. Surprised me very well. And I always love Sterling K. Brown. He's always amazing. I think one of the things that really surprised me as well is just, I didn't know that they were going to twist that within this certain case of that he's not going to speak. He's not allowed to speak. And I was just like, oh, snap. And I read that, like, Boseman was so excited about, like, yes, I'm going to have courtroom speeches. It's going to be great. But it's like, no, this is, realize where you are right now. Yeah. You're not allowed to speak in a court of law. This lawyer will speak for you. And I was just like, it makes total sense. That's how it was. Horrible. And then I remember just like, oh, but that gives him so much more to do as far as, as long as, the camera is on him, that will give him so much more to be able to work with.
One of the best scenes, I think, in Marshall as well, when it was in the courtroom, it was when, Chadwick's character was when Marshall and Friedman were cross-examining Kate Hudson's character. Right. And he kind of got to speak a little bit, but the idea was, I'm going to speak to kind of prompt Freeman to go in for me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, that's good. that was like, oh, that's good. And you could see Chadwick was like, I'm gonna do that. You know, it's like, why didn't you say anything? Why did you do this? Why didn't you do this? It's just like, you're out of order, and then he just walks away smiling. I got you.
I got this.